Welcome to Roadie Wellness, where we explore all things health and self-care. Whether you're seeking mental clarity, physical fitness, or insight from students like you, we've got you covered.
Hello, welcome back to the Roadie Wellness podcast. I'm Olivia, and I'm here today with Leetal.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
You said that exercise has helped you exponentially, and of course, there's so many benefits to it, but can you tell me where your journey started and why you're so passionate about exercise?
Yeah, I was a 3-sport athlete in high school. I played soccer, golf, and flag football. So I just kind of was always moving. And especially with soccer, I played on 3 teams. There were some weekends I'd have like 9 games and I wouldn't take any subs. I'd play the whole time. So just running and running and moving. And it was a big part of my life, just a big outlet, a big place to play. And when it came to deciding whether or not I wanted to continue to play in college, I decided not to play. A lot of my team did decide to play in college. I decided not to because I don't really like the pressure. Like I mentioned, right? Exercise, it's fun and I like it to be that way. And when it's in an environment where it's like you have to perform, you have to do well, that's just not the kind of environment I wanted. So I chose to not play in college. But then I ended up here in September and I was like, what am I supposed to do with my life now? My whole life has been sports and running and all that stuff. So being here first semester, I did an intramural sport here and there, like once a week, okay, but it wasn't like anywhere near what I was doing. So it was just kind of like this emptiness. You come to college and before you find your footing, there's just all this time, and you're like, now I look back and I'm like, where did all that time go? I never have a minute of freedom now, but so much time. And anyway, seeing I had all this time, and then some people on my floor started to go to the gym, and so one day I was like, can I just join you guys? And I went with them like one day, 2 days, maybe within a week. And both times oh my gosh, at one point they tried to show me what an RDL is. At the time, I have no idea. I can't figure out the form. This is my first introduction to the gym. I was like, forget it. I'm not doing this. So it was impossible. I didn't go back. And then the next day they went again and I said, okay, you know what? I'll just do cardio every day. So I went and I'm on the treadmill for 20 minutes or like whatever. In my opinion, cardio is very, very boring. Like to sit on the treadmill, no, thank you. So that didn't last. I was bored. It didn't last. And then I really owe it to my friend back at home. Her name is Kylie. I went home for Thanksgiving break and she brought me to the gym with her. And that was the first time I really felt like, wait, this whole gym thing is like kind of cool. But still, I didn't know what I was doing. So I couldn't just walk into the gym by myself. I felt like I couldn't. So that was that. I went with her to the gym. I didn't work out again. So a few weeks passed by and I had a moment where I really like struggled with depression. I had like maybe it must have been like a little over 72 hours where I just sat in my bed. I didn't eat. I didn't do anything. I got up a few times to go to the bathroom. I didn't talk to anyone. I couldn't do anything. I didn't go to my classes. I was just like so down and depressed. And then after that, after I was able to get out of there, I realized like I never want to do that again. I don't want to be wasting my life in my room. So then I had this friend, Riley. I owe a lot to Riley also, who goes to the gym and enjoys the gym. And she was looking for like a gym buddy to actually go with. So for a couple of weeks before the end of the semester, her and I went to the gym together. And we had the kind of friendship at the time where like, of course we know each other, we're friends, but not enough where I could be like, wait, I don't feel like going to the gym. So actually like, let's not. So it was kind of like that accountability piece of like, we're going, because I'm not going to call you and be like, actually, no. And I think that was really awesome because then I realized from there, it doesn't matter. Every single day, I'm walking into the gym. Whether I do one set and leave, whether I do a whole workout, whether I do a whole workout with very light weight, a whole workout at 112%, like awesome, doesn't matter. Every single day, I'm going to the gym. And from there, I've taken my rest days. I'll talk a little bit about the importance of rest days and figuring all of that out too. But it really became more important for me to go to the gym for my mental health. Like, I don't want to be in my room anymore. So I think that was really, really important for me. Now I just realized like it's a journey. Fitness, I want it to be a part of the rest of my life. And with that, you don't have to go all out all the time. Like consistency, I think we get confused. Like, what does consistency even really mean? It doesn't mean 112% every single day. It means like sometimes you show up and you do one thing, and sometimes you show up and you do a bunch, but you show up every day and you show up for yourself, and then the results start to come. I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned from the gym is like delayed gratification. Like you just go and you go for you and you do it every single day. And eventually you do start to see results and those feel really awesome too. But that's not all of it. That's not what it's all about.
I guess the main motivation of like what you're talking about, why you started going and probably why a lot of people started going. I know why I started going to the gym is it makes you feel better mentally. And that's kind of a whole piece of exercise as medicine is that motivation to go to physically become healthy, but also to build that discipline up and improve mental health. Exercise and physical activity releases those feel-good hormones or endorphins. I
Yeah,
forget which
for
one.
sure. Yeah, endorphins, serotonin, dopamine, all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing with the gym is like you show up there every day and you have that chunk of time where you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you're capable. You have to be able to push yourself. And there are days when it's like, I don't want to be here right now. And you're like, okay, but get through this one set and get through this one set. And the 3 sets go like that. And then you're on to the next workout and 3 sets like that and 3 sets like that. And then you did this whole workout and you start to feel the benefits. It's releasing all these endorphins and serotonin and dopamine in your brain, like I said, right? So literally with the chemicals in your brain, reducing your stress, improving your mood. And the entire time, think about it like it's an hour or whatever it is. It doesn't have to be an hour. It could be 30 minutes, 45, an hour. But let's say an hour because I try to strive for at least that each day for myself. Like that's an hour where my headspace has to be positive. It has to be. And then you start to realize you grow into that mindset because you're spending that actual time there. And it doesn't end there. You leave the gym and now you feel like accomplished. Like, yes, I just did that workout. Especially on the days when you didn't want to show up. And then it starts to translate into every single aspect of your life. Everything, the discipline, the motivation, the progress, the success, the journey. It's not always linear, but you have to start somewhere and you know that you're going to ebb and flow. And really like, wow, I wish everybody could look at and understand like the mental benefits of it. Really, it's incredible.
I think honestly you need to experience it for yourself as well and have that personal experience to like understand how can have a drastic effect on your health.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that also brings the importance of like debunking those myths because there are people who believe that there's one way to work out and you have to lift weights, you have to lift heavy, you have to go every day, you have to go crazy, or cardio, you have to get on that treadmill every single day, go crazy, all of those types of things. And that's awesome if it works for you. Like lifting, I talk a lot about lifting because that's what works for me. I love it. But there are so many different kinds of exercises and ways to stay moving. And it's so important to find what you enjoy and understand that like you're unique. Everyone's going to enjoy something else. But if you're not enjoying it, how can you expect yourself to be consistent with it? Like, honestly, I just wouldn't recommend even doing that. Like, why would you? I really can't wrap my head around the idea of habitually doing something that I don't enjoy. Why would you do that? Like, I think people forget to realize how much autonomy you truly have over your life, especially in this period of time that we're in, like as college students, but just anyone in general. Like, if you don't like lifting, don't lift. If you don't like running, don't run. You could walk. You could do yoga. You could cycle. You could go ice skating. You could rollerblade. You could skateboard. You could play a team sport. There's a million ways to stay active. I don't believe that there should be any person who can't find one that works for them, even if it's as simple as walking. Walking is actually very helpful to your mental health. I love, love, love to go on my long walks. Each type of exercise is going to have its own set of benefits. There's no reason people can't find what works for them. Even if it is that you choose lifting. No, you don't have to go crazy every single day. It's so unrealistic. How are you going to? Of course not. You have to think about it as like it's a lifestyle. It's something you want to do forever. So you could relax, right? Like I had even a period in my first year where I'm always like, okay, it's time to go up in weight. It's time to go up in weight. It's time to go up in weight. And I hit a point where I start to plateau because I'm just going up and up and up and up and up. You can't do that. I want to lift for the rest of my life. So, for example, I'm trying to bench a plate right now. I want to get to benching a plate and I've been rushing myself to do it. And I have to remind myself, like, slow down. I could bench a plate in 5 years from now if I want to. I plan to lift for the rest of my life. So what's the hurry? If I have a day where I want to walk into the gym, and actually I do some days, like, go down in weight, like completely down. Let me just do my entire workout with 10 pounds. Sometimes that's what your body needs. If you're going to do it for the rest of your life, you could chill a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And that goes, like, into what you were saying about when you're exercising, you're doing it for yourself. You're there, you're with yourself, you're doing whatever your goal is for yourself. So, ultimately, if you're trying to reach that goal too fast, like you said, or you're doing it just because you wanna get to a certain place, which it's good to have goals, but if you're doing it solely just to reach, a number, you're you might be missing out on all the other benefits that come with it. It's about the journey, not the destination. It's
Yeah,
about
right.
all those things you're learning along the way. It's about the joy and benefits that you're getting while you're working to reach that goal. It's not necessarily about that goal. It's important to have that goal, but you can't discount the positives about it as you're working to get there.
Right, exactly. And listen, the physical results will come. If you're consistent, they'll come. But what's the best way to be consistent? Enjoy what you're doing. Live in the moment. Think about what you're doing and it comes.
I know we wanted to talk a little bit about practical tips for students for how they can get involved, especially in the gym or certain areas where there's not necessarily like a leader and you're kind of navigating it yourself. So like weightlifting in the gym, that type of thing.
Yeah. So, first of all, my first tip before even like the practical, like what to do, is you don't have to strive to be perfect. Being perfect, it's boring. I don't know where this idea of perfection came from, but it's so boring. Imagine you did everything perfectly. There's always more you can learn, and life is always gonna ebb and flow, especially with working out. But as college students, like if you're finding it really hard with a busy schedule, first of all, let me talk about my go-to study method for exams, okay? Because I'm a busy college student as well, and I hold myself to high academic standards, and I have never gotten below a 90 on an exam in college yet because of this study method. But what I'll do is I will make a document of everything all the concepts I need to know, just everything I need to know, write them on a document, write them, don't copy paste, don't be lazy out here. Write them and then I'll turn them into index card, but I'll group them like by 3 concepts or something, turn them into index cards. Then I'll actually take those index cards to the gym. So now I'm multitasking, first of all. And second of all, we talk about like what the gym does for your brain and those neural connections and getting them going while you're moving. And so to study between sets and all that stuff, it just sticks with you. And you're doing 2 things at once. So whether that be for me, right, I do it between sets if I'm lifting, but if you just want to walk on the treadmill, if you want to walk outside, but you could double up on your studying that way, study and exercise at the same time. So that's a big thing, right? We're here to be college students. We're here to be academically successful. And the other thing is, like, I really recommend people to work out in the morning. If you work out in the morning, it's like the rest of your day just feels so easy. You're not doing that anymore. We mentioned those awesome classes in the gym. So if you're able to sign up for a class, go with a friend, go alone. Honestly, people get afraid to go alone. There's no reason to be afraid. I do want to talk a little bit about like gym anxiety also. Like, people are always saying things like that, like, people are going to be looking at me, or like, I'm not lifting enough, or I'm going to look weird, or is my form right? I don't think people realize actually how little people are looking at you. Because if you look back and think about it, are you walking in the gym and thinking about that? Like, no. One of my favorite ways to like put this is I have my security blanket. See, I have it right here next to us, right? I'm 20 years old and I carry around my security blanket. And sometimes people look at me like I'm crazy. Like, what are you doing? Nobody's going home and thinking and then ending their day thinking about like, oh, that weird girl with her security blanket. No one's thinking about you that much. They just aren't. It's nothing wrong with it. It's just like a fact. People have their own lives, their whole own day. When you get home, what are you thinking about? Are you sitting there thinking about that person you saw in the gym lifting 10 pounds instead of 100? Or like that person you saw in the gym who was doing that weird form? You're not thinking about it. And listen, it's human. We're going to have, maybe those thoughts are crossing your mind in the gym. Like, oh, look at that person. Oh, look at that. Maybe. Fine. We're human, right? But at the end of the day, you don't care. You're not going to look back and think about the people in the gym. So, and on the topic of nobody looking at you, listen, it's okay to be proud of yourself and proud of your progress. So, if you want to take pictures in the gym, if you want to take videos of yourself in the mirror, pictures in the mirror, be proud of your progress and do that. I love it, especially when people are behind me. Like, I'll take a picture. I'm showing up here for myself every day and I'm going to be proud of that and take a picture of it.
And personally, I love myself a good gym rat TikTok.
Yeah.
Not even gonna lie, I love watching those. So like,
They're awesome.
yeah, do your thing, you know?
It's all about fun. I don't know where we lost this idea of having fun and play. I know I mentioned it so many times, but it's so important. Like, people tell me you're always happy, you're always bubbly. It's because I'm having fun with my life. And that's what you have to do. It's your life. Have fun with it. And everyone belongs there. It doesn't matter. Like, even those people that you see in the gym, like, oh, this person's such a gym rat. Of course, like, how can I go to the gym and be next to all these guys who know what they're doing? They didn't always know what they were doing. You have to start somewhere. Not everyone starts in the right place, right? Like, now I walk in the gym, I'm pretty confident in the gym. I do know what I'm doing. I wasn't always like that. I had a time where I needed my gym buddy. I needed accountability. I needed someone to teach me stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I think not being afraid of that, having a buddy system, accountability and for motivation, right? Like I mentioned earlier, my friend Riley. So we weren't going to say no to each other, right? We have to do it. And sometimes that's what you need until you realize, like, now I don't need to find the motivation because I know how much it helps me. I want to go. I want to be there. And that's what's really important. So success starts when excuses end. You can take one small step today, no matter how simple, to prioritize your own physical and mental health. It's going to help you so much in the long run. I put on this YouTube video the other day, like in my living room. It was so funny. It was just like this girl kind of just like dancing it out, but calling it a workout. And it's similar to like Zumba. And it's true. My heart was pumping. I started to sweat towards the end. The whole time, I didn't even feel like I'm working out. I'm just having fun. I think that's my most practical advice is like, find a way to have fun with it. If you're having fun, of course you want to do it again, right?
There's always somewhere to start, you know what I mean? Where you start isn't necessarily, you don't have to stick with that forever.
Right.
If you start with like dancing, you know, you can work your way up to then going to the gym with a buddy and just walking on the treadmill to get used to it. And then you can, you know, try the machines and then try weightlifting and then, you know, try different things once you get more comfortable with it, you know, but you got to start somewhere. Just find somewhere to start that like you're going to enjoy it and you're going to have fun with it. Because then, like you said, you're going to want to do it again. I'd say something I recommend that I found really helpful was just start with like an exercise class. Because you might find it hard to like find a gym buddy or like ask a friend or, you know, your friend might do something different than what you enjoy. But exercise classes, you're going to have someone who's leading you in that. So someone who's knowledgeable and you can choose one that you like. There's so many different options.
Yeah. And with those exercise classes, especially, like, show up by yourself if you really need to. Everyone there is so, like, no one's judging you and everybody wants to help and support everyone. So when you go there, like, people are there cheering you on too. You're all doing it together. That's the beauty of a group exercise class for sure.
So I know that we've been talking a lot about gym and exercise and physical activity. I think it's also important to mention fueling your body and food and the rest days that it comes with it, because it's always like a balance between physical exercise, but also taking care of your mental health and having that self-care. So do you want to mention that and maybe like a little routine that you do to make sure that you are taking care of your body from like a holistic perspective?
Yeah, right. So I think it's really, really easy to fall into the all or nothing mindset. I think I'm really guilty of that. I'm constantly like all or nothing. And when I first started out gymming, it had to be all. I had to go every single day. And I mentioned there's merit in that. Like, for my mental health, I needed to show up there every day and just to make sure I wasn't going to be in my room. But also, then there comes a time I'm still kind of grappling with it. Sometimes it's difficult, like, to accept how important a rest day is. And actually, like, the most growth happens on your rest days. So it's still something I struggle with, but I've been getting better. I've been taking a few extra days off this year, like in a row. But I think it's really easy for people to be hard on themselves. I think that's like a big problem for me, and I started to notice it on people around me. I think everybody's hard on themselves. I don't think it's like unique to anyone, and I think it's awesome. People want to do better than they're doing, and that's great. But there is a little bit of like space, and can you have like a little patience with yourself and space to rest and recognize the importance of that also. I've been trying to lean more into that, and when it comes to fuel especially, I definitely had a point in my gym journey where I wasn't fueling how I needed to, and it hurt me, honestly. Of course, you don't realize it in the moment, but it hurts you. It's so important to fuel for what you're doing. If you aren't like fueling enough, getting enough fuel in, and then you're expecting of your body to do all of this and to be at 100% and to put in all this hard work, to take in all that strain of whatever it is that you're doing, it's impossible. You can't expect your body to do that. I think the other thing is, like, it's important to have respect for your body. I think that's where what helps really with the balance of rest and fueling and working out. It's like your body is, first of all, like capable of doing so much, and having a little bit of gratitude for that. Like I get to walk into the gym, I get to lift. So being a little bit easier on myself in those ways, and like understanding too, my body is my home. I need to take care of my home, right? So if I'm not fueling, if I'm not resting, and I'm just expecting myself to be able to push and work out, I'm going to burn out and I'm going to be injured. And that's another thing, like when you're so passionate about the gym, really for me, like I'm passionate about it. I love it to work out. I'm having fun working out. And when I have times where I'm injured, it's so frustrating, but it's so important, like to slow down and recognize that those things are part of the journey too. When you're injured, taking it seriously, really resting. There's so many people. I don't know if I've met someone who takes an injury seriously, right? It's just like that mentality, right? Like, oh, I hurt my ankle, but like it's fine. Like I'm still gonna work on it. Do you know if you just actually like paused and rested for a week, you'd be so much better off than you're like, yeah, let me just do less and less and less. And now you're dealing with it for months and months and months. So just like take it seriously, you know? So it's very important to balance rest and fueling. And I don't want to get too much into fueling just because I don't want to give misinformation. I don't want to say anything wrong. I'm still learning it myself. I will say one thing though that I've learned and am learning is like fueling is another lifelong journey. Eating is another, it's like the weather. We're all experiencing it, right? So also recognizing like, at least for me, I grew up eating just very like processed foods. I grew up kind of like fending for myself when it comes to food. So I just never really had an idea of what that looks like. And when we come to college, like it's those simple things that people think we know. And sometimes people don't. Like how many people don't know how to boil themselves a pot of pasta, for example, right? Like it's things we don't know, and it's okay that we don't know them. So I think just having space for like, we're in the period of life where we get to learn. And for me now, I'm having so much fun navigating my fuel journey and recognizing like how much my body deserves to be fueled, and how like if I want to be able to keep on doing what I'm doing, how important it is for me to fuel my body to do that. How can you expect your body to do things and not give it the energy to do so, right? So but learning, like, what does it mean to fuel properly? I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nutrition major. I don't want to give any information about that, but I do encourage people to like look into your eating habits and don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it. Because why? How would you just know? How would you know, really? Like, ask for help, ask for advice, and don't take it to TikTok. Don't take it to Google. Like, oh my gosh, I could find a Google article saying the two total opposite things, right? Like, yeah. So take it to get yourself some help if you need it, and recognize how important it is.
Yeah, thank you so much for talking about that. I think that is something that people overlook, especially on their gym journey, and it's such a big part of it too that it shouldn't be overlooked. So I'm glad that you mentioned it. Yeah, so thank you so much for coming on today's podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I had so much fun.
Before we wrap up, a quick reminder that all information shared in today's podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. Thank you for listening to another episode of Roadie Wellness. If you like what you heard today, tune in every Tuesday on all podcast platforms for more. If you want to stay up to date on events and healthcare tips, please follow us at URI Health Promotions on Instagram. And if you have any ideas for future podcast episodes or more social media content that you'd like to see, please feel free to DM us or email us. Until next time, take care and stay healthy.